Everybody.
Hey.
Today we are going to be calibrating probes in Applestone's first Martini, which is right there. So I'm going to run through the process of how we calibrate probes, and I've got a couple of guys here to help us walk through the process. So some other things that we're going to need is I love ThermoWorks products, and I have a thermometer that's got an end to it. Where is it? It's down here, and we are going to put that in the cup. But you're going to need 2 cups and a digital thermometer to calibrate all our probes. So the first thing we're going to do is we grabbed a couple of cups. Can we show the cups? We've got one filled with hot water, boom, and another cup empty. But here, can you hold it up? And I put a couple of holes in it, and what I did was I found where the spots would be penetrating the cup right here, and then I use the oven probe. Probably not the best way to do this, but I use the oven probe to punch the holes inside the cup. So all we're doing now is we're putting the probes through the cup, and we're going to slide that so they're kind of in the middle, and hopefully I lined it up. Just move the probes up and down a little bit.
Yep. I'm just gonna get this first one pierced. It's a little bit.
Oh yeah,
there we go.
These probes are a little bit bigger than the meat probe. So right there where it's in the middle, and then we take the meat probe that I've got hanging from the product shower right now, and we stick that in the cup so it stays in there somehow. Maybe stick it down a little bit farther. Okay.
Do this.
Beautiful. And then we take the other end of the thermometer and we stick that in the cup. Now the great thing is where we hold the digital probe for the meat probe happens to be a great holder for my thermometer. The hot water, because we cook to hot temperatures, I like calibrating probes to hot temperatures. I know the USDA wants you to use ice chunks in water to calibrate the low end, which you can obviously do that with the same process, but the most important thing is what temperature do we cook the product to. So we got the hot water in, the probe in, the meat probe in, the wet bulb and the dry bulb probes all stuck together. So all these temperatures are going to read exactly the same temperature. So I go on here and I turn on my thermometer, and it's showing that we're 130.2, 130.1, and obviously we're going down in temperature. So I'm going to go through this as slow as I possibly can. We are going to hit Setup, System Settings, then we get this screen, Smokehouse System Setup, Setup, and Offline System Settings. And then Offline Mode, I can't read it through my phone. Come on. There we go. Hit Yes, and then we hit Setup and Input Offsets. So, number 1, which is the dry bulb probe, which it tells you right there, is 127.1 degrees. And this says we're 126.5. I like to say if I'm within a degree, I'm good. And so I'm just going to take off, oops, I took off the offset. Okay. Number 2 is the wet bulb. Sorry for bouncing around. Wet bulb actual tells you right there. It's showing 97.7, which is way off. So with this temperature being this far off, it's going to throw off the humidity for the oven, because it's taking the calculation between those 2 temperatures, the wet bulb and the dry bulb, making a calculation and tells us what the relative humidity is inside the oven. So our temperature is 125 and we're 97. So I'm going to add on 27 degrees, and hopefully that gets us really close. So 122, 123, and we are 124. So sorry for making everybody dizzy. 28. And that should get us there. 124, we're right on. Okay, last probe is our meat probe. Is number 4. Number 3, I think, is a hot plate for the smoke generator, and we just don't adjust that. Meat probe, we're pretty close. We're a little bit high, 124.9 to 123. So we're gonna go negative. Let's go 2, negative, done. And let's see where we come out, 121.6, 123. I went too aggressive. So let's just go 1, negative, done. And there we go. Okay, so we have all the probes calibrated. We go to view, main view, view, main view, and we're back to the beginning. Okay, we'll have another training video here shortly. What we're gonna also show is the wet socks. So now that we've calibrated probes, one of the things that helps make the calculation is the wet socks. So if we look at this real close, you can see that it's black. So when they're black and crusty like this, the humidity or the water does not get absorbed by the wet sock. Because this is crusty, it thinks that it's dry. The oven thinks that it's dry. So we're going to put on a new wet sock, but you can see because it's not pliable, it's hard, that it's not recording temperature properly. And so we have another wet sock that there's one end that's open to it and the other end is sewn shut. So we're just going to put that over the wet sock probe. So if you can go do that, and I'll show you, he's going to show you this little trick that I use in order to get it on there. As I put it on there, and then I take the meat probe and I punch it into the water. Not punch, but just move it into the water slowly. Because the bulb in there, the float valve, sorry, I should get a little closer, makes it a little difficult to put your finger down there.